What up, what up, what up? What's going on? It's your guy Tay Vale coming at you, aka Tay Rich, and you are tuned in to Rich Talk. And tonight's topic is generational wealth. I felt this was a good topic to kind of talk about, especially with everything we got going on right now with the economy and the pandemic. And it was a hard question that I had to ask myself that made me even think of this topic. Do I have access to wealth? And the answer to that was no, I don't. And here's my idea of being able to have access to wealth. Can I look at my phone and call a family member and ask them for $250,000 for an idea that I have, or $250,000 for a hospital bill I have to pay, or $250,000 for a family crisis? I can't do that. And so I had to think to myself, okay, if I don't have access to generational wealth or family wealth, how is my daughter, my grandkids, my great grandkids going to have access to wealth? And the answer is, it's got to come through me. And that's for a lot of people out there. A lot of people, if you don't have access to generational wealth, you don't have access to wealth right now, you are the foundation. And here's a hard pill that we all got to swallow. If we are the foundation, there's a high chance that we won't live to see the full fruits of our labor. We'll probably be able to eat a little bit of fruit, but not the full fruits, okay? What I hold right here is the last person in my family lineage that had generational wealth. 1820. So from 1820 to 2020, my family lineage has not had wealth in the family, okay? So what is generational wealth? What does it look like? It looks like simple stuff, assets. You gotta have assets. Assets is simply things that help you, that helps make money, that creates money for you. Properties, land, stocks, things that create interest for you and your family. Okay, something that keeps going and never stops. That's generational wealth. That means your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, is something that you can pass down the line that can continue to grow and continue to have your family benefit benefit off of and receive the joys of life. Okay, now money isn't. Let me set this straight. Money isn't everything. Money isn't everything, but money is a tool. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Money is a tool. Money is something that can be used to benefit you. But also in the wrong hands, it can be used to hurt people, okay? If you're looking to create generational wealth, you have to use that money. You have to use assets, land, property, stocks, businesses. You have to use that stuff to create something to better your family name. You don't want your family to be struggling. You don't want your family to be going from paycheck to paycheck. You got to create wealth to where if something happens down the line, which history shows something always happens down the line, your family is safe for 60 months. They got 60 months worth of income or revenue put up, so they're comfortable. Because you don't want to have your grandkids to be like I was like, man, what? Whoa. Where's the rich granddad? You know, nothing wrong with my granddad, because I talked to my granddad, and he did what he had to do to make sure that his family was secure. And if it wasn't for the decisions that he made, I wouldn't be sitting right here in front of you talking about generational wealth. Okay, so he passed the baton. He may never had access to wealth or how to create wealth. But I do. And if you do, it's up to you to create that. So how do you gain access? You got to seek out information. Information in books. Information in people. Information on the internet. It's all at your fingertips. You can't say that you didn't know. If you don't seek, then you don't want to know. The moment you have kids, it's no longer about you. It's about them. And it's about the generation after them. Okay? You always want to leave the next generation better than how you had it. Okay, looking at my daughter, I've started that process. My daughter, by default, she's already was considered quote unquote a privileged lifestyle. She has mom and dad at home. She doesn't have to worry about where food's gonna come from. She's in a private school. She's got a way better lifestyle at 4 years old than I have, that I had. Okay, but that's all because of the decisions I made. Because, like I said, I'm the foundation, creating that generational wealth, and that's something that you got to do. Because Because one thing I heard from a very wealthy man named Matt Grotwald, very wealthy businessman, and he said, "Timing doesn't get better; you just get older." So what that means is the excuse of it's not the right time, it's not the right time, it's not the right time, waiting for the better time. It's false. It's a false narrative. It doesn't happen. Timing doesn't get better. You just get older. 20 years from now, you're going to be 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever the case may be, and you're going to look back and say, "Man, I wish I should have, or I wish I could have." You can. You just got to take a pause in your thinking, take a pause in your life, and come up with a plan and a strategy. Okay, how I'm going to set this foundation, how I'm going to build this foundation so that the next generation has it easier, has it better, and not just money, but knowledge. You got to pass down knowledge. That's generational wealth too. Pass down knowledge of how to do things the right way. Okay, because there's a lot of generations who had wealth in their hands, who had generational wealth, and it crumbled at their fingertips because the knowledge of how to create the wealth wasn't passed down, and also the principles wasn't passed down. Okay, so definitely take some time out, come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, figure out where you're going to start accumulating assets. Maybe you want to start a business, start a family business that's going to last generations. Something simple, a necessity, a need, not a want. If you can create a business that can fulfill a need, you got a business for a lifetime. If you create a business that can fulfill a want, it's just a hot thing, hot topic. Generational wealth is very serious in my household because I know I got a very, very short time to do it because life is fast. 20 years flies by in the blink of an eye. And if you don't execute in that time frame, that window closes. So if you're looking at this, take the time out, come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, and figure out how you're going to make it happen. There's generational welfare. Just to kind of go off top of the dome, there's generational welfare. There's grandmas, moms, and kids who have been on welfare for 30, 40, 50 years without even thinking about it. Generational wealth is something you have to think about. You have to create it. Because one thing about welfare and systems that you lean on is the moment that they decide that they don't want you to lean on them anymore, you're in a whole world of trouble. And now you're scrapping and scraping and finding out how you're going to survive the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. It's intentional. Generational wealth is intentional. Make sure it happens for you and your family. So that's the topic for today, generational wealth. Shirt for the day, product of the day is the red Rich Dreams shirt. If you're not following, you can follow the brand on Instagram and Facebook at Worldwide Rich Dreams. World is spelled WRLD, Rich Dreams. If you want to look at some merchandise, maybe pick up some merchandise, just hit the inbox, the DM, and